just because they're looking for that. They really want you to, because not a lot of people specialize. Like I said, maybe this is a high number, 6,000 people. Let's say 2,000 people are doing a residency a year, right? Because that's all the spots there are. Not everyone's going to do it. I would say maybe only like 15-20% actually go to the second year. A lot of people don't because they just had enough. So it looks good. It's good. Yes.
Is there a huge pay difference between working in a hospital and
It's a really good question because yes, there is. It is. There actually is. Retail, I mean, I don't know if you want me to give amounts? Okay, so retail usually pays about $120K, right? Whereas a hospital, you're not, I guess, I'm assuming it's because you don't deal with as much stuff as you do in retail, but whereas a hospital, you start off at maybe 70 to 80. So it's a huge pay difference. That's why a lot of people go straight to retail after school. But like obviously, if you do your residency, it increases your pay scale, and then after years, it does get higher, but retail generally pays better than hospital does.
What's the difference between the clinical and the research?
So research is you're literally in a lab. You're literally in a lab, I don't want to say looking under a microscope, but dealing with like the properties. Like I don't know how many of you guys have taken chemistry, but doing the whole absorption and all that stuff. Whereas clinical is upstairs with the doctors. That's what clinical is referred to. So when you're doing the rounds and all that stuff.
When you're doing research as a pharmacist, what's the difference between doing research as like a biology major or chemistry major or doing research as a pharmacist?
See, if you that's a really good question. I don't know the exact answer to that, but a lot of it is you have a lot more knowledge about the body system, about the disease state. Whereas for someone who has a chemistry major, they're not going to know if you have diabetes, what that entails. They're not going to know what that means for your body. Same with biology, they're not going to know the chemistry side of it. So as a pharmacist who's going into research, you're going to be able to put all that together for them.
Sisters who are in the Quran, can you guys come? Sorry.
Anything else?
With respect to the pay band and all that, with respect to the retail and the hospital, it seems to me that maybe there is more of the relaxation in hospital and sort of job security in the hospital rather than being in the retail. Retail is more demanding.
I would almost say it's about the same. I know that if you're looking into hospital, it's a lot harder to get a job in a hospital because there's only so many physicians, whereas retail, as you see, there's like a pharmacy on every corner nowadays. I know, as I'm working for Walgreens, if they don't need you at one store, there's always more stores opening. There's always retail. I feel like there's a bigger demand for it just because there's so many stores. Whereas a hospital, there's only a limited number of positions. I don't know about the job security part of it, just because I haven't worked in a hospital, and a lot of the friends I have just started in a hospital, so I'm not too sure about the stability of one versus the other. But I would honestly probably say they're about the same, because no matter where you are, they need pharmacists, and like I said, and particularly in this area, it's really saturated. Like if I wanted to look for a job at University of Maryland, I know I could never get it because there's so many people coming out with with residencies and stuff. But if I were to, I know if I were to go to some boony place in Pennsylvania, I'd be able to get a hospital job just because they need that and they're not being picky. So it just depends on where you are. Your location's a big deal too.
If you have a residency, could you still work in retail?
Mm-hmm. I would think that's such a big waste, but you can. Yeah, because retail. Another thing you have to realize is the difference between retail and hospital. It's a whole different set of stuff you're dealing with. So the hospital medications you'll never see in retail. The retail medications you won't see as much in the hospital either. In a hospital you see IVs and all that stuff. You're not going to be dispensing IVs at your local Walgreens. So it's the types of stuff you see is very different.
So I just got a question about for folks who want to actually synthesize the drug, would they have to go through I guess a rigorous research program, and also, would there gonna be like a pay difference?
Honestly, I'm not sure about the pay. The fellowship I was talking about, that's the path you would want to take if you want to, like you said, synthesize drugs. Um, I have no idea about the pay, honestly. But there is a whole other path you can take for that. Like one of my rotations was going to be at like AstraZeneca, which is a big drug company. I got switched because I absolutely did not like the industry. But if that was your choice, like from my school we had 8 rotations. So of those 8 rotations, you could do up to like 3 even if you wanted in a research place, and they probably pull you in. A lot of people who get their jobs, they get it through their rotations because they see how you've worked there because you're there for 5 weeks. So that's what rotations are for, to see everything that's out there. If you want to go into that, I would say, do that. I don't know too much about that side of pharmacy, honestly. I can't really answer too much. But that type of job is a very like you're just in your suit type of job. It's not hands on. You're going to be dealing with just it's more of not sales, but it's more of you're away from the public. I should say that. If you're not like a person who wants to deal with the public, that's great.
Right.
And a lot of that, there's another part of research is clinical trials. I'm sure you guys know, like when they make a drug, that's a huge field too. Doing clinical trials, being a part of that, testing these drugs.
Going back to the school aspect, would you say that like this balance between lab work and like actual like retail, like sale, like we are going back to like the making the drugs when they have to deal more with like laboratory work and like actually like going out and like
It depends on where in that field you're even going to. So if you're going to do the clinical trials, obviously you're going to be dealing with people. If you're going to be making the drugs, you're just going to be in a lab all day dealing with animals. So it's a big difference even there. Yeah, you test a lot of stuff on animals. So if you're not okay with that, don't go into that part of it.
When did you start to thinking going to in that direction? Because I remember many years ago that usually when I asked my classmates, that they didn't know what subject they're going to go into, and this is a very good presentation that my brother and sister are getting their first hand as well as very strong, with these, qualified person, who are in the field. So just if you would like me to say, when is a good time, you think that this time, since you are much younger than us,
Not that much younger,
when
sure.
you decide to go that direction?
Honestly, I decided in high school what I wanted to do. Initially, I actually wanted to be a doctor, like I said. I would have loved to, but then I realized I kind of looked at what's around the doctor too. What are my other options? Because I said I didn't like the lifestyle of a doctor. So that's when I found pharmacy. I also had a lot of family members that are pharmacists too. So I saw the way they lived, and I was like, hey, I want to be like that too. So that was one of the things that pushed me. And then I loved science, pharmacy, med, all this stuff. It's a lot of science. I mean, as a kid, one of my aunts had a pool, and I remember we used to take the dead frogs out of the pool, and we used to literally dissect them for fun. I mean, I love doing that stuff from the beginning. If you're into that sort of thing, it's great. I think high school is a really good time to decide, not exactly I want to do pharmacy, I want to do engineering, but to decide I don't like science, so I'm going to push all of that away. I like math, so it opens up a whole new door there. So I think